Welcome to the quantitative neuroscience and mathematical method in neuroscience class. My name is Jiwan Young, and this is the third class about this topic. As you know, we're now suffering from the pandemic worldwide, and probably the best way to deal with the situation is the strategy that we call the social distancing. So we'd have to do the class through the internet. So I'll be recording my lectures and we'll be uploading it. And alternatively, I'll try to find out a way to do the class interactively, possibly through Zoom. But in the meanwhile, please try to follow the lecture through this video course. And also, if you have any questions, just feel free to send me any emails and I'll try to answer your questions. Okay, so let's move on. We begin with a recap of the previous class. We studied about the leaky water tank. This is actually another word for the ordinary differential equation. As an introduction, I needed some example to illustrate the conditions that we're dealing with. The model that we consider is called the leaky water tank. This is just a water tank. So as you can see, there's a tank and water is dripping into the tank. And if you suppose that the water is dripping at a constant rate, you can imagine that the water will be filled up and eventually it will overflow the whole tank. But the situation we're considering is that there's actually a small hole, so water can leak out. And under this scenario, surprisingly, it's actually difficult to imagine what's going to happen. One thing we can imagine about this leak is that when there's no water, there will be no leak, right? Because there's no water to leak through to begin with. But then you can imagine that if we have more water accumulated in the tank, then there will be a higher pressure, and this pressure will throw out more water, so the leakage will increase. So we can basically assume that the leak will be linearly proportional to the volume of water. So the basic idea is simple. If you get to think about this dynamics in terms of not a total quantity, but the rate of change, then this problem becomes tractable. And the way we think about the rate of change is simple. The rate of change of water, the volume of water in the tank, will be the rate of water coming in, what we call the in rate, minus the water that leaks out, which is the out rate. And if we consider that the in rate is just a constant, so the water drip is just constant regardless of the water inside the tank, and the quantity that determines the dynamics of the remaining water in the tank is the out rate. And now we suppose that the out rate is the leak, which is linearly proportional to itself, the volume. The condition we are essentially considering is that the rate of change of volume of water is proportional to the volume of water itself. And in that case, we are actually considering a linear transformation of the rate. So basically, I'm just repeating myself. Now, if you have some quantity, you are differentiating this quantity with respect to time when you are considering the rate. And that rate becomes itself the original quantity that you are considering. So now, in the case we considered, we are essentially solving the equation for dV dt equals to V. The volume of water, the rate of change of the volume of water is proportional to the volume of water itself. And now, mathematically, there is one function we discussed that can describe this situation. And that function is called the exponential function. So what you know is that if you differentiate the exponential function of t, with respect to time t, and what we get is the exponential function itself. Now, if it is not an exponential function of t, but rather some constant multiplied by t, such as alpha t, then we can do the change of variable to find out what the consequence of this differentiation is going to be. So this is the basically the main message. Exponential functions. Why we get to have an exponential function? The basic reason is because, once again, the differential operation upon itself becomes itself. So the rate of change is proportional to itself. This is the main message. Now, you get to think about the solution of this model. And this becomes somewhat mathematical and abstract thing. But then the purpose of this class is not to become a mathematician. We are only trying to be the user of mathematics. So what you can do is we can kind of guess what the solution will be and differentiate it and find out if that differentiated quantity is the same as the original quantity in this differential equation. So we talk about a family of solutions because there are many different kinds of solutions available. As you know, if you differentiate a quantity, a constant will become zero. So those numbers are not known. So those becomes, those numbers that goes away after differentiation should be considered in the family of solutions. So this is our approach of guessing the solution out of the differential equation, and which is the reason why we have a word family of solutions rather than just a unique solution. But I must say that a unique solution can be given if you know the initial condition precisely. So I sort of demonstrated how this can be solved. I think at this point it's important to get used to this formulation. You're not required to do the solution yourself, but I hope that you get familiar with these mathematical symbols. So what we should consider is that if this purported solution actually meet the initial condition, and so what you can do is you can put time zero to this equation solution, and then if it comes out to be the initial condition that you have originally assumed, then you're on the right track. And the second thing you should consider is what we often call the steady state condition solution. So the rate can vary in many different ways, but once it becomes zero, what does it mean? So what you can consider is one condition where this rate becomes zero, dv dt becomes zero. If the rate of change is zero, it doesn't change, right? It has no possibility of gaining or losing its rate, and it stays this way. And how does it stay this way? Well, there's no change, so it stays in a condition where there's no further change. So this is called a steady state. So it reaches a steady state once dv dt becomes zero. There's no way out. It stays that way. So simply, if you put a zero to dv dt, and then you can solve the rest, the other side of the equation, to find out what the steady state value is going to be. And in the given equation that we have for the leaky water tank, we can actually find out that there is a steady state condition, which we call the V infinity. And you can see that the dynamics will begin from initial condition. It can be, below some, it can be a small number. It can be zero even. if you have small amount of water to begin with, the water will accumulate over time slowly, and then it will reach some level, which is infinity, steady state, and it stays that way. Or if the water was already more than that, then the pressure generated by this volume of water is already too high. So the leak rate will be higher than the drop in of water, such that water level will decrease and decrease until it reaches the steady state. So this is the basic equation, and remarkably, this explains the dynamics that none of our students could expect. So I must say this simple approach of thinking about the rate is really a powerful method. And I should repeat, the only way we get to this is to use the exponential function. So until now, maybe exponential function looked very foreign to you, but if you think about these scenarios, such that rate is proportional to itself, and the only possible function being the exponential, and that's how our mathematics is made usually. So I just hope that you become comfortable whenever you see those solutions and differential equations, and I'll probably try to repeat this leaky water tank analogy throughout the class, and probably the only take-home message at the end of this course is this exponential function and how to set up a ordinary differential equation for your own model or analysis. Okay, so I come to this point where I have to reveal to you that the leaky water tank is just a first order ordinary differential equation. For this class, the hidden message for this class is that we actually have to study ordinary differential equation. And if you think about the ordinary differential equation, it can be used to describe all steps of cell biology. So I talked about the first messenger, which is the signals coming from outside the cell, such as GABA or glutamate or whatever hormones there might be. They bind to the cell, and cell receptors on the membrane, and it triggers the second messenger pathway, such as calcium or cyclic AMP pathway, and there will be a lot of intermediate state, and that will sometimes generate the gene expression, or it can signal may be amplified or selected by switching and be relayed to the other cells, or possibly a whole organ to the humoral pathway. So all of these steps, I must say, can be described if you use ordinary differential equation properly. But then this applicability of this methodology doesn't stop in cell biology. It actually can be applied to many different levels of biology. And in fact, it can be used to describe the epidemiology. The spread of pandemic can also be described by the same set of equations that we used for the leaky water tank.